Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to Myth Busting Mondays. In today's video, for the final myth, we are going to be testing if whether or not that the tanks can end up winning Gnome Chompski at the shooting gallery minigame in Dark Carnival. So I hope you guys look forward to the final myth as always. If you guys have been enjoying today's video, please drop a like. And if you have a myth of your very own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, please, by all means, feel free to leave them here in the comment section down below. Or you can also leave them within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. But with all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying this week's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: can you spawn another survivor in Lone Gunman? Okay everybody, so the very first myth submitted in today is going to be by Zoe, and this one's really straightforward. This one's going to take like less than a minute. All I'm going to do is load into Lone Gunman myself and activate the admin menu and just see if whether or not a bot can physically spawn in. So I'm going to go over to the admin menu right now, go over to survivors, go over to the spawn in command, and then I'm going to just pick any of the random survivors that are on the list. But as soon as I do, it is not working. It's just making the noise and not actually doing it. So myth 1 is busted. Myth: if a survivor is hanging in the swamp in Swamp Fever as the ferry is arriving, will the ferry kill the survivor? Alrighty guys, myth number 2 is going to be submitted in by Tyler, and this is also going to be on the quicker side. All we gotta do is just wait for the ferry to end up approaching Tyler and see if it will kill him. I do believe that a lot of people already know this result, but I'm more than happy to showcase it anyways. So if Tyler's hanging on the dock and the ferry does get to him before he's able to be revived, it does indeed look like it does kill him, and he is now pronounced as dead. So the myth is going to end up being confirmed. The ferry will kill the player if they are not revived in time before the ferry ends up arriving. Myth: can the truck in Crash Course kill you when you are underneath of it while it is being lowered down? Alrighty guys, myth number 3 is submitted in by Tacky Rovelator, or Tacky. So guys, when it comes to this myth, me and the guy swear we have done something like this at some point or another in a prior episode, but we looked up and down every single episode and we could never find a myth that is exactly worded this way. But that now gets to change today, and we get to showcase this myth in an episode. So Glabersko is standing underneath of the truck, and me, Tyler, and Dan are all just going to watch as he inevitably will most likely meet his demise, and the truck is going to end up lowering on him right now. And the truck not only ends up incapacitating him, but it also just flat out kills him, just like in real life. So yeah, the myth is going to end up being confirmed. If you're underneath of the truck in Crash Course, it's going to kill you if you don't get out of the way. Myth: does a hunter fall faster when pouncing rather than one jumping straight up and then falling? So this myth is submitted in by Zaku. Now this is going to be something very, very hard to see unless you're looking very closely, so I'm going to show this in super slow motion. But essentially Zaku wants to know, if you end up pouncing as a hunter or just jumping and then falling straight down, what will allow you to get to the ground quicker? So in the upper left and a little bit of the upper right, you guys can see me and Dan as hunters. Dan pounces, I just fall straight down. And as you guys can see, me and Dan roughly get to the ground about the same time or so, but I do need to clarify something that you may have missed at the very beginning of this fourth myth here, is that when I ended up jumping, it was about 8 frames faster than Dan because he ended up hesitating. Now this was to be expected, even though me and Dan have the best connection to each other out of everybody in the myth-busting group, but we do want to get this as close as possible. So what we decided to do is a simple math equation where we take the amount of frames that I jumped before Dan did, and then end up seeing how many frames it took Dan to catch back up to me and calculate for the difference. And when looking back at the footage, even though it's going to be kind of hard to see, it only takes about 2 frames for Dan to catch back up to me. So with it being a difference of 6 frames, if we jumped at the exact same time, he would have gotten to the ground quicker. Therefore meaning it's confirmed, because if me and Dan jumped at the exact same time, he would have gotten to the ground 6 frames quicker than I could have. And now we move on to the final myth, and once again is going to be, can you end up beating the shooting gallery minigame and possibly win Gnome Chompski while playing as the tank? Leave me your predictions in the comment section down below, guys, and no cheating. Do you think that we will be able to end up doing the final myth, or do you think it's going to end up being busted? I'm curious to see what you guys think. But yeah guys, let's move on to Dark Carnival now and test out the last myth. Myth: can tanks win Gnome Chompski in the shooting gallery minigame? Alrighty guys, the very last myth is submitted in by Globbursko. Now, we are going to have Globbursko start the minigame now, and me and Tyler as tanks are going to try to hit the targets with our rocks. And I will say this, is that this is much harder than it looks. There was times, several times actually, where we were throwing rocks and we swear to God we were hitting the targets, but we were not. In fact, this is so difficult to do that we were only able to end up getting 2 single hits. Tyler got one at one attempt, and then I got one at one attempt. And it was ridiculous, because we swear up and down that we hit these things multiple times, and it was just super strict, never wanted to give in. It wasn't until Tyler just got that very first point that we thought this was even possible. We thought that the game just did not want to recognize the tank rocks. Now here's the thing, is that you very well could argue that, okay, well, if you're at least able to end up hitting a target and get any points, therefore you have to label it as at least plausible. No. And I say no because of the fact that there is a time limit. If there was no time limit, then sure, we probably even could, if we had enough patience, get all the way up to a confirmed. However, with the time limit in place, and how difficult this is, I cannot promise you that we would be able to have the average person be able to do this. I just don't feel comfortable labeling as confirmed with such small odds. I really only like using plausible when I feel like a myth is going to be confirmed and I just don't have proof. I don't want to end up labeling something as plausible when I feel like I'm more inclined to say that is busted. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say it's busted because I don't think you can actually do this. But yeah, everybody, that is going to be here for today's video, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. If you guys have a myth of your very own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, please, by all means, feel free to leave them here in the comment section down below. Or also, alternatively, you can leave them within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. And in case you're worried if we have tested a certain myth before, you can verify that by checking the description. In there will be a Google spreadsheet with the entire list of every single myth we have ever tested from every episode of Mythbusting Mondays. And you can check in there to see if a certain myth has been tested, so if you know if you want to submit it or not. And with all that being said, guys, I truly hope you guys end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!